All right, dads, welcome to video 2 of the Provide course. In this video, we're going to discuss providing a culture, because that's a big part of leadership. Every home has a culture. What is a culture? A culture is the beliefs, customs, etc. of a particular group, a way of thinking, behaving, or working that exists in a place. Professor Drew Pittman is going to continue talking about leadership and how you can provide a culture in your home.
You know, whether it's Tony Dungy building his culture or Bill Parcells building his culture, they're unique cultures, but the fact is they're both intentional, and your culture is what you value. It's kind of like your game plan is your game plan is how you establish that culture. So when you think about a guy like Nick Saban in Alabama, he really brings in a specific culture to that program. And it's based upon what Nick Saban maybe values, and he makes a game plan to, make that culture into a reality day in and day out.
No question. And, the second chapter in my book is called Create a Culture. And I tell the story of Nick Saban and how I heard him speak at the American Football Coaches Association convention one year. And it really impacted me because as I heard him talk about, he had only been there 3 years and had gone from taking a school that was just a nationally renowned program that had gone really in the tank. And he took it, and in 3 years he won the national championship. And of course he's had a ton of success since then. But he talked about those things that you mentioned, what's important to him, and what he thinks is important to have success. And on his website, CoachSaban.net, he talks about what his culture is and the things that he values. And I think what hit me as I sat there and listened to him was we all have a culture in our home. Every home has a culture. The question is it intentional? Is it a culture of chaos, or is it a culture of pressure and intensity and poor communication, or is it a culture of teamwork and a culture of communicating well with your family? And that's one of the things that we work on a daily basis in our home. And it's easy to get upset and raise your voice. But the important thing is that we go, hey, that's not how we're going to communicate with each other. You're upset. That's fine. I want to hear what's making you upset, and let's talk about it. And I'm telling you, I think it will constantly be a work in progress, but that's okay, as long as we are being intentional and working towards those things that really are important and that are going to make us, quote unquote, successful in our home. And I love the fact that you tied, the game plan to the culture, because one of the other chapters in the book is called, create a game plan. And if you don't have or construct a game plan, if you don't have a game plan, then you'll never accomplish that culture. And so the two go hand in hand.
A culture is what you value. Is your culture intentional? And culture is always a work in progress. To create a culture in your home, you're going to need to put together a game plan, just like any football coach does. It's not going to happen by itself. A culture is like a destination, but you need a flight plan. If you're in an airplane, it's not going to get to the destination by itself. You need a game plan, a flight plan, whatever you want to call it. A game plan is how you establish your culture. You want to have a blueprint before construction. Reverse engineer.
One of the things that I realized is if I was going to be able to implement this culture in my home, I had to do what Coach Saban did. He had to get buy-in from his players. Well, to get buy-in from my players, who is my wife and my kids, I had to allow them to be a part of the process of creating defining what our culture is going to be. And so my wife and I talked about it, and then we kind of came up with 4 things that were going to be like the 4 cornerstones of our foundation of this culture. And then we took a walk. We lived kind of out in the country, and we took a walk with our boys, and beautiful day. And I asked the question. I said, "Hey guys, if we moved away from Salado, and a year from now, our friends were getting together and having a cookout and hanging out like we like to do, and somebody said, 'Hey, you guys remember the Pittmans?' What would they say about us?" And of course, my youngest said, "Oh, they'd say I was the best athlete." And my oldest said, "Oh, they'd say I was the smartest." And then I asked the question, I said, "What would we want them to say about us?" Well, my youngest said, "Well, we'd want them to know that we love Jesus." And I go, "Perfect. That was number 1 anyway." And then we kind of led them through the other things, and it was really cool, because now that culture has become like a roadmap. And anytime somebody does something that doesn't match up with our culture, then we can go, "Hey, is that the way we do things around here?" And they go, "No, And so it's really cool, and it provides an added level of accountability, which is awesome.
So Drew talked about you have to make the foundations of a culture. As a dad, that's on you. If you want a culture in your home, you put the foundation in. That's leadership. But it's not a one-man show. You want to ask questions to your family, as Drew talked about. What's important to them? Get them on board. Make a family shield, a family motto, a family song. There's a lot you can do here to make it official. You can put something on the wall. Every dad can choose their own culture. The culture in my home is going to be different than the culture in your home, and that's okay. So to summarize, to provide so far, the first thing you need to do to provide in your home is to lead. And in order to lead, you need to put together a culture in your home, but to put together a culture in your home, you need a game plan. Next, we're going to talk about leadership and how it's all about influence. In next video, I'm going to introduce 2 new professors to you. Professor Devin Bandison and Adam Rust. These are 2 great dads, and they're going to talk more about this leadership thing. So stay tuned.